possibly slightly different to that, but it was something to do with a ferryman, and it was a Greek story about, intrigue and family on television many years ago, but it was very good. I've got a little copy of it at home. Perfectly legal, I have to say. Roy Noble then on BBC Radio Wales. Now my guest this afternoon is Newport's Puffer Jones, also known as Mike Jones, who believes that every child should own a bike, a laudable belief. And so he set up Freebikes4kids, and he restores unwanted bicycles and passes them on for free to children and others in need of a set of wheels. To date, he's restored over 3,000 bikes, and some have travelled as far as Uganda. Mike is with me here now. Always a bonus to have you face-to-face. You're very welcome. Good afternoon to you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So going back to the beginning then, Mike, put me right now. Where did all this start?
Started in 2019, so during the first year of COVID.
Yeah.
And the original idea was to just do it as a one Christmas thing.
Yeah.
And it's just gone. It's just exploded from there. But I was previously in an IT job, and then
IT engineer.
Yeah,
right.
yeah. And then my wife Rachel had a neurological episode,
right,
and I became her carer. So it was kind of, what can I do from home whilst being there for her and making myself useful at the same time.
Good man.
Cycling was my thing, and it just grew from there.
Yes. Good man. So you still care for Rachel?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, our good wishes go to her as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, and well done you for that. And so how did that? You bought a bike and then did it up or what?
I did, yeah. I had young grandchildren, and I drove past a charity shop and saw a bike outside in the rain. So I bought that for, I think it was £4 or something ridiculous.
Yes.
I made it look tidy for him.
Yeah.
For my grandson, and then I put a picture on Twitter, and then people just started messaging me saying, "Have you got any more bikes? Can you fix this bike? Can you get a bike for this age?" And it just exploded from there.
Because they're expensive, aren't they?
They are.
And many people under pressure at certain times of the year. Christmas is one.
Yeah.
And we'll come to that. Have you always yourself had a love of bikes?
Yes. Yes. Always since which is why it's a big thing for me for kids to have a bike, because it was just a massive part of my childhood.
An image comes to mind, you see. We all have been into bikes. I got a bike, and if you passed to go to grammar school, you were bought a bike. It was our never job, 2 and 6 a week for my mother and father, and it was bought from a shop in Clydach Square in the Swansea Valley, which is not anywhere near us, but that was the nearest bike shop to us, you see. And it was a fantastic bike. It was a Hercules, and it was between puce and purple in colour. And it had crepe tyres, not the black ones, but it was crepe-coloured tyres. It was extraordinary. And the shop was opposite the cemetery in Clydach. And if the bus was early going to Swansea, it would stop there for a few minutes to kill time. And you look in the cemetery, no grass, because the nickel copperworks was next door to it, and the pollution was killing the grass. But all those images come to mind. And then we had to come down on the Sunday morning with a borrowed van to get the bike.
Yeah.
And in the window, it looked even better than it had the day before. So I can understand the excitement of the bike. And so where do you get all the bikes to restore then?
Well, after that happened and people started asking me if I had any more bikes, I put something out on my personal Twitter account.
Yes.
Just saying, got a bit of an idea. If anybody's got any old bikes that they're tripping over in their garage or in their shed or whatever, then I can take them and I can find them, fix them up and find them a good home. And that was 5 years ago, and there's barely a day where somebody doesn't drop a bike off to me. I'll get home now and somebody will have left 3 on the drive, I guarantee it.
Well, having been on the radio, there'd probably be a lorry turning up. But what I was going to say, these bikes now are in different state of repair, aren't they? Yeah. Some are easy.
Yeah.
And some are rather difficult.
It's everything from, it looks like a brand new bike, to how long was it in a river for, and everything and everything in between those two things, really. But everything is mostly fixable, and if they're not fixable, then they're parts.
Yeah.
So everything is useful.
And a general bike now, say for a child or a teenager or whatever, what price are we talking about?
Even if you go as cheap as possible, you're still going to be talking £180, £200. If you've got 3 kids.
Oof.
Yeah.
That's a bit, isn't it?
It's huge, it really is.
That's right. And then the more sophisticated models are
thousands, yeah.
Yeah. So it must give you a feel-good factor to be able to hand these over. And do they just come, or do you get in touch with people and say, I've got a bike here if you want one?
I have got in touch with people, but now we're 5 years in. I get lots of social worker referred families and charities getting in contact.
Yeah.
So there's always people coming to me now.
Right.
I've constantly got a list. The list just never goes down. I've got about 6 schools waiting at the moment, a couple of charities, all kinds of. I've got bikes on the way to Sierra Leone, all kinds of things.
Good grief, international.
Yeah.
You're going international.
I know.
Yeah. How many bikes do you have you kept count?
It's over 3,000 now.
Over 3,000.
I was counting. I got after the 3,000 mark, I started saying over 3,000. But I was making like an individual count at one point of how many it was.
Yes.
But yeah, they just keep coming, and there's a massive demand still, huge.
So how did the international connection come up then?
I was contacted by another charity that sends bikes to Uganda initially, but they're bikes for children to ride to school. So they're big, heavy, sturdy transportation bikes.
Right.
But what they don't have over there is bikes for sport, like your Bradley Wiggins type racing bike.
Ah, they don't have those.
Yeah,
and they want them.
I had quite a few of those that had come in. So yeah, they were tagged on to the shipment of cargo bikes, and they're being used by young girls in particular. In Uganda, the cycling club's called Masaka Cycling Club, and they regularly send me results on Instagram of their races and things, and photographs and things. Yeah, it's great.
And you mentioned schools as well getting in touch with you. Schools in Britain.
Yeah.
Yeah. For what reason then?
Bikes again. Yeah, I've got bikes in 25 local schools at the moment.
Yeah.
So they're used as a form of PE, a form of physical education. They're used just at break times on the yard.
I suppose really they in a way they have the highway code as well on how to ride bikes.
That's the other thing.
Even though they don't have a bike, they can learn in school.
Well, that's what they do a scheme called Bikeability these days, which is basically the proficiency test that we used to do. And they'll say to the class, how many of you would like to do it? And 20 hands will go up, and then they'll say, how many of you have got a bike? And half the hands go back down again. So I can then say, right, here's 20 bikes or 30 bikes.
Yes.
And the school tends to hold on to them then, and use them.
Mike, how do you fund this then? It must cost,
I've no official funding.
Yes.
Because it's not a fully registered charity, which makes it difficult to access certain funding avenues.
Yes.
But having the time to go through that with looking after H as well, obviously, is not practical. No. So I've just got a GoFundMe, which is linked to my social media, and cyclists. Which is
just give you bikes.
There's a lot of them, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
Bikes, parts. Sometimes they'll donate some money towards.
Yes. But then, having done them, having repaired them, you've got to move them on, and this is financial as well. In moving them on. In most cases, sometimes they can come and collect them, but sometimes they can't, and they have to be moved on. Have you got funding, a sponsorship, or whatever?
No, nothing at all.
So there's no other, comparative, parallel charity that's helping you out.
No, not at all. No, it's literally something that was. It's literally something that started so small that it's almost kind of happened to me over the last 5 years, and it's got to the size that it is now without me almost being aware of how quickly it was growing, if you like. So it's still the same as it was when I first started. Just me, 2 sheds in the garden. Now I've upgraded to 2 sheds now from 1.
Because you took away my last question. I was going to say, where did you do this? I moved into an old transporter.
I wish I had a warehouse. No, 2 sheds in the garden, and I'm always there then for Rach, obviously.
Yes.
When she needs me.
Yes. Ah, right. And you've recently set up a YouTube account as a bit how to guide you, haven't you?
Yeah.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, how does that happen then?
I was finding people were picking bikes up, or I was delivering. Well, mostly when they pick the bikes up in their cars, I tend to have to take the wheels off the bikes, release the brakes, that kind of thing, to fit them in their vehicles.
Yes.
And then they're ringing me saying,
how do you put it back on?
How do you put this on, and how do you fit the brakes? So I just made 1 or 2 videos.
Oh, right.
How-to videos of this is how you do the wheel, this is how you do the brakes.
Yes.
And now it's become, I put videos on there about the mental health aspect of cycling, the importance of cycling in schools.
Yes.
I've literally been doing it for 2 months. It's still very small, but people seem to be watching. So yeah, it's a good thing.
Are cycling clubs getting in touch with you with bikes they don't need anymore?
Yeah, lots of the local cycling clubs, Caerphilly, Cwmcarn, Paragon, Wenvo, Wheelers, most of the local cycling clubs, because they've got kids that want to get started, but obviously the entry cost is quite high.
That's right.
So if I can say, here's a bike, here's a helmet.
You give a helmet as well?
Yeah. Oh, the helmets.
Yeah.
I do have help with the helmets from the Principality Building Society.
Oh, right.
So there's a guy called James Harper who works for them, and he is a bit of a cyclist himself, but he does a lot of their social outreach.
Yes.
And he supplied me with over 500 helmets so far.
Gosh.
And he also supplied me with my little Fiesta van as well, which was one of their ex-fleet vehicles.
Yes.
Which he donated that to the project.
Wow. Oh, well done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's been amazing.
Yeah, quite.
Yeah.
But talking about outreach project and so on, it's only been 3 years, but you've been recognised, haven't you? Community-wise.
Yeah.
In what way was that?
Which way do you mean?
Well, was it a ceremony? Was it a ceremony?
I was asked to turn the Christmas lights on.
Did you?
That was this year just gone now, which was a surreal experience. I'm still quite not sure why that happened. Yeah. I'm assuming Peter Andre was busy on that day or something.
but actually, you're a community champion. Is that
yeah,
the
well,
correct
that was what they said. They said they wanted me to do it as a community champion.
Yes.
Which is what they called me. I wouldn't call myself.
And I'm reading here, Mike was nominated for a one big thank you.
Oh yeah.
From the one show.
Yes.
Whoa.
Yeah, that was a setup. I can never trust any of my friends ever again.
Yeah, quite. And you were asked to turn the Christmas lights on. Yeah. Well, that's a very sensible idea by Newport.
I thought so.
Yeah,
because I'm
somebody's
free.
Doing something for them.
I'm free for one.
Yeah, and it is important, isn't it? For some children who cannot get a bike, it must be magical getting one.
It's amazing, honestly. You can see it. You really can see it. Yeah, it's great.
God. So how can people get in touch with you then, unless that's a dangerous question?
Yeah, the social. Yeah, I didn't put my number on the side of the van because I'm so busy already. I don't know what would happen. So it tends to be social media.
Yes.
So Twitter, Instagram, and obviously YouTube now as well. And I'm Puffer Jones on all of those.
Good grief.
So that's how you find me. Yeah.
This is extraordinary, and especially if it's not being funded in any way, except for the helmets coming in.
Yeah, I mean the GoFundMe does tick over.
All right.
So people do put little bits and that's just down to people's individual generosity.
Yeah, GoFundMe.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
But other than that, there's no official funding.
There's no official funding that way. I've got to ask as well, Mike, Puffer Jones? Was the name Puffer?
Okay. There's two reasons.
Right.
None of them are dodgy. No. One of them was when I was in school, I had childhood asthma. And you used to have your puffer,
yes.
Your asthma inhaler.
Yes.
But then when I left school, started working in a local garage, and naming no names, they were welding a vehicle, and I was on fire watch up inside the vehicle with a fire extinguisher that turned out to be empty. So I blew the flames out. And that started the whole puffer thing all off again then. So that was 20-something years ago, and I've never shaken off.
You've blown them out?
Yeah.
Good.
I saved that MGB GT.
I bet you have. Extraordinary. Well, listen, thank you so much for chatting to me today and telling me your story, which is an incredible one and growing. And you've got a sparkle in your eye, so it's not going to die here, is it?
No, it's not. No,
it'll keep on going.
I'm in too deep now, definitely.
This must be quite unique, not only in Wales but in Britain as well.
I think it is.
Well,
yeah.
the one show must have recognised that.
I do get people asking from all over the country, but obviously I can't. There's only so much I can. If someone wants to come and get a bike from Manchester, they're perfectly entitled to.
Yes.
That would be fine, but I can't personally spread it any further. I'm already spread quite thinly at the moment.
I bet.
What I'm doing.
Yeah, so did you find you were doing a lot more in COVID or
COVID was the start.
This was the start for you?
And COVID was... there were other avenues to it during COVID.
Yeah.
So NHS workers at the time, nurses and cleaners, and they weren't super keen on getting on buses, obviously.
No.
So a bike was So I just put a thing out saying, if you're an NHS worker, there's a free bike here for you.
Oh.
And a helmet and a bike lock. And quite a few came forward. Nurses, cleaners... all sorts of essential, what's the word I'm looking for? Essential workers at the time.
Yes.
They came forward and had bikes.
God.
Yeah, and Ukrainian refugee families coming to settle in the country, obviously having left everything behind.
Yeah.
To give the kids their bikes back.
Wow.
They get to know the local area and get a bit of freedom.
Yeah. Well, if anybody wants to find out more about Mike and his work, it's on Twitter X now, isn't it? X,
It is, yeah.
At Puffer Jones.
It is, yeah.
Puffer Jones. And Puffer is Puffa. There's no other way to spell it. Well, Mike has been... you're inspirational, really. It's a small story. It's a simple story. But it's quite large in implication.
Yeah.
And goodness.
Yeah. It's sneaked up on me a bit, to be honest. But, I always say it's happened to me, really. But, yeah,
God grief.
It's good. It's good.
You've got the gift and you're using it. Well, amazing. Not only in your sort of attributes as an IT sort of specialist, really. You did training for technology beforehand.
I worked for a local firm in Newport for 23 years, the same firm, until Rach became ill, and then obviously things changed from there, really.
That's right. Are you a big biker yourself?
Yeah.
You are?
Yeah, always have been, yeah.
Yeah.
I am.
Yeah. Wow. Extraordinary, really. So, I've got to say, I'm looking at you here, and you keep saying you've been doing this for 23 years, and you've got grandchildren as well. If I was to throw a dart now at a dartboard and guess your age,
Go on then.
well, I'd be way off. You look extraordinarily young.
Thank you.
Yeah, you do.
With my grey beard.
Well, doesn't matter. You're still on there.
I'm 49, 50 next year, so...
Gosh.
I'm a young granddad.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, all to the good. And what about your grandchildren? Have they got bikes?
Yes.
You have?
Yeah. Football mad, but bikes as well, yeah.
Bikes as well. Mike, it's been a great pleasure to have you here.
Thank you.
Great pleasure. I hope your story spreads from here. And what an inspiration you are, these sort of starting in this small way and now becoming international in the goodness that you're actually doing and providing in that kind of way. Many thanks to you.
Thank you.
Yeah. And speaking of bicycles, there's only one way we can go now. There's Katie Mellower is the next number. And the title is 9 Million Bicycles in Beijing. No China ones so far, have they? No.
There's about 5 million in my garden.
Mike, many thanks to you.